Welcome to the lounge, where we challenge accountability. I'm Urban, and we don't do surface talk here. We use emotional intelligence. Thought-provoking, mind in motion, truth be stirring, deep emotion. No filters, no faking. This here, thought-provoking. Every beat a question, every bar a lesson. I turn the mic to a mirror, life's a session. Urban in the mix, soul and intellect blend. We ain't just talk truth, we set trends from Dallas to the world. We break that ceiling, no clout, just facts, that's the real feeling. Thought-provoking, mind in motion, truth be stirring, deep emotion. No filters, no faking. This here, thought-provoking. Trap drums drop, but the message don't fade. Every thought sparks like a hand grenade. Faith, pain, love, and drive all collide, that's how minds revive. All collide, that's how minds revive. Thought-provoking, mind in motion, truth be stirring, deep emotion. No filters, no faking. This here, thought-provoking. Mind open wide like a city skyline. Every topic shaped by design. The urban lounge where ideas ignite. Late night thoughts under podcast lights. Every episode of thought design. The urban lounge where iron sharp iron. We build from the ground like truth rewiring. Can't fake what's felt when the mic's ignited. If you listening now, you already invited. Thought-provoking, mind in motion, truth be stirring, deep emotion. No filters, no faking. This here, thought-provoking.
Warning, the following image and/or content may be disturbing, offensive to some viewers. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Real quick community guidelines before we start the show. Now I want y'all to know that this is a space for respectable, thought-provoking conversations. We encourage intelligent discussions, different viewpoints, and respectable debates. Disagree if you want, but do it with substance and respect. Self-promotion is not allowed. This is not your billboard. Links, spam, and promotions in the comments or in live chat will be blocked immediately. Distasteful trolling, insults, or bad faith behavior will not be entertained. You will be blocked and banned. No warnings, no back and forth. Finally, y'all will notice that the subscriber mode is on. It is only for 5 minutes, y'all. 5 minutes. That way we can protect the integrity of the show and also protect the integrity of people who actually want to comment in the comment section faithfully, all right? We're here to think, challenge ideas, and grow, and not derail the conversation. If you're here in good faith, then I welcome you. Y'all enjoy the show.
How about this new one they have, their new star, Crockett? How about her?
She's the new star of the Democrat Party, Jasmine Crockett. They're in big trouble.
But you have this woman, Crockett. She's a very low IQ person.
I watched her speak the other day. She's definitely a low IQ person.
Crockett. Oh, man, oh, man.
She's a very low IQ person.
Somebody said the other day she's one of the leaders of the party. I said, you got to be kidding.
Now they're going to rely on Crockett. Crockett's going to bring them back.
We have a great show for y'all today. First of all, salute to you. Salute to everyone who are tuning in, watching me right now. Now, I know many of you are at work right now, so I appreciate y'all supporting the stream during your work day. Normally, I be scheduling my live streams during the evening time, because that's the most after time for my supporters, you know what I'm saying? But this particular episode, I need to go ahead and get it out sooner because I have other episodes that I want to talk about, later on down the line and stuff. So those of y'all who are here, once again, I appreciate y'all tuning in to this particular episode. All right, so we got a lot to talk about with Jasmine. We got a lot to talk about with Jasmine Crockett. All right, those of y'all who was not familiar with what was going on last night, the state of Texas did had a primary election last night, and one of the key components of the election that was focused nationwide was Jasmine Crockett versus Talarico. All right, so. Long story short, Jasmine ended up losing this particular Senate race because she was trying to be Senate, all right, for the state of Texas. So she ended up losing the race. But here's something that we're going to focus in on. Okay, we're not going to focus on the part about the whole race itself, like how everybody else is covering this, right? We're going to want to focus on this kind of differently. Okay. We're going to focus on what happened, what caused Jasmine Crockett to lose this Senate race. Okay. I had did my time, doing some research on this, and I researched different things that was going on, the strategy and everything, you know what I'm saying, that was happening during her race. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, I do want to let y'all know this. I want to let y'all know this. The current version of Jasmine Crockett, I do not support at all, period. Many of y'all who are fans of the lounge, y'all know that I explicitly expressed my disdain for how the way Jasmine Crockett is as of now. I expressed that when she was helping endorse Kamala Harris, when Kamala was trying to run for presidency, and all kind of stuff. And one of my main reasons why I do not support Jasmine Crockett, this current version of Jasmine Crockett, is because she is part of the third and fourth wave of the feminine movement due to, her political stance behind it. And so I don't support it at all, period. I don't. I honestly don't. I don't. But so I'm to be honest with you, I'm actually happy that she did lose the Senate race. One of the main reasons why I'm happy that she lost the Senate race is because, to be quite honest with you, I honestly believe that Jasmine needed to be humbled, for real. She really needed to be humbled because she been taking a lot of wins for the state of Texas for her political career. You know what I'm saying? In the beginning of her political career, I did support her. I really did. And I supported her. I was part of her team, you know what I'm saying, per se, when it was first established, when she was running over years ago. But after when she came part of office, that's when things started changing with Jasmine, like dramatically. She started being in connection with a lot of people who are part of the third and fourth wave feminist movement. She started being connected with, a lot of the sororities and fraternities, which I did a lot talking about this as well too. So I just lost my support in her altogether, you know what I'm saying? But don't get me wrong. Jasmine Crockett as, a person, the things that, I put y'all this way, the things that y'all see on TV, how the way Jasmine is, that's not really how she is in real life, to be honest with you. And I don't like using the term real life, but that's the best way how I can describe it. Because I have talked to Jasmine plenty of times and stuff, and I can tell you that it's night and day with Jasmine. Jasmine has a political character, and then Jasmine has another characteristic as well too, where she's way more humble. And that humble side is what led me to help support her the first time around when she was running for office. But in this modern time now, nope, no, not at all. I don't support it at all, period. So yes, I was happy that she ended up losing this race because, to be honest with you, I believe that she do need to honestly be humble. due to the things that she been putting out there on social media. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna kind of talk about that. We're gonna talk about the reasons why she lost the Senate race. We're gonna talk about what went wrong based on my perspective of what went wrong in this race. So if you want to get a different perspective on this, then I appreciate you tuning into the show. So you could get a different idea about it. Because once again, I'm not. This is not going to be one of these type of shows where I'm going to want to clown Jasmine, daughter out, or anything like that. I'm just going to be real about it and tell the truth about why the things happened the way it did with her. All right, and hopefully this will be a learning lesson from her as well too. If she decided to continue her career and being in political affairs. Now there's a reason why I say if too. And I'm going to state that reason to you. But those of y'all who are tuning in right now, make sure you hit the, double tap the screen to support the channel. All right. So without further ado, let's go and get into it. We're going to break down one of the most talk about political developments in Texas, like I stated. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, she did make a bold move while entering into the race for the United States Senate. She made her goal clear that she wanted to move from the House of Representatives to Senate. Now, the reason why she wanted to do this because she felt like that she had more of a position of power moving from the House to the Senate. All right. Now, those of y'all who've been following her, she been having this whole disdain about President Trump and about the whole administration as well, too. All right. Matter of fact, to be honest with you, they've been kind of President Trump and Jasmine been going like back and forth, to be honest. But it's neither here nor there. But to be honest with y'all, when the votes were counted, right, the Democratic nomination went with James Talarico. So the question I want to ask y'all is this: what went wrong? Why did the Democratic Party decide to go with James Talarico instead of Jasmine Crockett? Well, why did that happen? Well, why do y'all think that happened, by the way? Because I know that there are a lot of speculations behind it, you know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of curious to want to know what y'all think. Why do y'all think that the Democratic Party decided to go with James Talarico instead of Jasmine Crockett? Now, my personal speculation is this. I believe that Jasmine Crockett, she is good for TV. She's good for polarization as well, too, where she could literally gravitate an audience based on, how the way she say things, right? But however, when it comes to the overall leadership of the said party, I believe that the Democratic Party did not trust her to lead properly due to her track record. Now, y'all should be asking yourself about this track record. Now, in the state of Texas, right, there have been a lot of things that Jasmine had done, and it didn't benefit the state of Texas how the way it should. A lot of her strategy dealt with dealing with, racism, preferably in her assigned district, right? But it was an overall betterment for the state of Texas, and that becomes problematic. Whenever you're dealing with political affairs and stuff, right, it's one thing to, address and mention about, certain things that happen, like, for example, racism or, women disparities, and different things like that, right? It's cool to mention about that, but when you make that your primary goal every single time, then a lot of people is not going to connect with that at all, period. Case in point, this is the reason why the state of Texas had went with Donald Trump to be the next president of the United States because of that reason. I'm just saying. That's the reason why. Because people cannot gravitate towards, the singling out racism or, misogyny or, all these different other things that she was trying to promote and endorse. So I want y'all to understand that she ended up doing what is known as a political gamble. Now, what do I mean by this? when she did this political gamble, it simply means that she was running for a higher office. All right. Now, if she were to win, right, then it will move her political career to a higher level. But however, if she were to lose, then that's when things get complicated. And that's what we're going to talk about in this particular segment. Now, Crockett, she made a decision to run for Senate instead of seeking re-election in her current congressional seat in Texas 30th District. And this is very important. This is very important. That decision immediately raised the stakes for her. Why is this important? Since she didn't run for her seat again, she decided to endorse a new candidate to fill her seat, which we're going to get into that in a few minutes. So, because the Senate race didn't go her way, the seat currently holds in Congress that could eventually end up going somewhere else. But it is important to understand something about this particular timeline. Even though Crockett lost the Senate primary, right, she is still currently serving in Congress as the representative of Texas 30th Congressional District. The reason why I'm telling y'all this is because a lot of people are saying this, not like media outlets and stuff, right? But a lot of people in the chats and comments are saying this. They're saying that Jasmine Crockett no longer has a seat in Congress. That is not true. Even though she lost the race in the Senate, right, she still holds her seat in Congress as Texas 30th District representative. A matter of fact, she would be, ideally, she got sworn into the seat and hold the seat all the way into January 2027. But however, that could possibly change dealing with the main elections that's going to happen in November. Okay. So I want to make that clear with y'all that Jasmine, she's still in the House. She still have her job and position in the House. All right. So this brings me to this situation with District 30. All right. Now, Texas District Congressional 30 is considered one of the most reliable Democratic districts in the state. The reason why is because that whole entire district is blue as hell. So it don't matter what type of Democrat that runs for that seat, they automatically going to get District 30. All right. Now, in districts like that, right, whoever wins that Democratic primary usually has an advantage in the general election that's going to come up in November. All right. Now, this brings me to the point about the District 30 situation. The Democratic nominee for the seat is Frederick Haynes III. Now, those of y'all who don't know who Frederick Haynes III is, let me explain it to you. Frederick Haynes III is actually a pastor here in the state of Texas, preferably in whatever we call this in the Oak Cliff area. All right. So he is the pastor of a church that's called Friendship West. So this is something that I want to bring up to you. I believe that Jasmine Crockett had got with Pastor Frederick Haynes as a strategy. They got together to say that she believed that she was going to win her Senate seat. And while she won her Senate seat, she believes that Pastor Frederick Haynes will control the 30th district. Now, one part of that is true, is that during this election, right, Pastor Haynes did win District 30. So what's going to happen is that now he's going to go into the main election in November, and he's going to go against a Republican to see if he can fully win the seat. But what's important is this. let's say in a hypothetical situation, right? Let's say that Pastor Haynes ended up winning that election in November. Guess what's going to happen to Jasmine? That's when Jasmine is going to lose her seat in Congress. That's when Jasmine is no longer going to have a job in Congress. Now, y'all understand why this was a gamble for Jasmine to do this. And to be honest with you, just looking at, not looking at, me not understanding the policies or anything like that. Not me, even agreeing with her, the policy. If you just look strictly at the strategy, right? I honestly believe that this was not a good strategy for her to do at all, period. To be quite honest with you, I believe that she should have went on to stay running for her current seat, to be honest. Because even though people don't like Jasmine, they don't like the polarizing things that she say, at the end of the day, she was there and she was making noise in the House of Representatives. And I believe that she should have stayed there instead of trying to move to a Senate seat. Another reason why I believe she should have stayed there is because she wasn't looking at the big picture as well too. Because other political analysts and stuff, right, especially Republicans, right, they knew that if Jasmine were to gamble this, right, they knew that this would be the perfect opportunity to get Jasmine out of that seat. Because let's be real, they don't like Jasmine at all, period. They do not like Jasmine. But they couldn't get her out of the seat legally. But however, they also use a strategy to get her to go for another position and literally get her fired for the position before even having it. That's literally what happened. So at that point, Jasmine's seat currently holds who is going to win that election in November between Freddie Haynes and the other candidate. And to be honest with you, when you're dealing with politics, right, sometimes the timing and the strategy matters. Sometimes you have to look at it from a bigger perspective. You have to, in other words, you have to look at it as though you're playing chess. All right. Wherever move is going to determine the game. Some moves that you make, it will mess you all the way up. Other moves that you make, it would be very beneficial. But in this particular case, I honestly believe that the move that Jasmine made was not beneficial at all, period. She shouldn't have made this move, period. She should have stayed where she was at, to be honest with you. Now, once again, many of y'all may disagree with that because your disdain for Jasmine. I get it. I understand it. Just like I stated earlier in the beginning of the show, there are things that I don't even like what Jasmine talk about. You know what I'm saying? But however, at the end of the day, she was doing her thing in the House of Representatives. But now she's finna get ready to lose all of that coming up pretty soon. Now, if y'all enjoying this content, make sure you double tap the screen so you can let YouTube know that you want more of this thought-provoking content and let y'all know that, hey, I don't just only talk about red pill stuff over here. You know what I'm saying? I talk about political stuff. I talk about trending stuff as well too over here. Just to keep y'all informed of things that are going on. You know what I'm saying? But let's matter of fact, let me share this with y'all. I want to quickly share this clip with y'all. All right, so y'all can understand why I'm saying what I'm saying about this. All right, so. This clip that I'm going to share with you, this is going to be with Pastor Freddie Haynes and stuff, right? And this is going to set the political stage for why Pastor Freddie Haynes decided to run for Jasmine Crockett's seat, okay? So check this out. Let me know what you think.
Jasmine Crockett right now is my congressperson. But the way this thing has been, I'm going to use the language, you don't like it, cracked and packed in the racist redistricting. She's no longer my congressperson. I want her voice as my congressperson.
Now, the reason why I shared this clip with y'all is because remember what happened after when President Trump went into office, right? What ended up happening is that they ended up redistricting a lot of states, including the state of Texas. So since the state of Texas got redistricted, right, the current position where Jasmine was at in the past, she ended up getting moved out of that. And that's the reason why Pastor Haynes is making a statement. So shortly after this, years later, right? Oh, my bad. I forgot to mention this as well, too. Pastor Haynes is Jasmine Crockett pastor, all right? She attends this church. Once again, Pastor Haynes is Jasmine Crockett pastor. She attends this church. So that's the reason why I was saying that her and Pastor Haynes had created this strategy where she wanted him to take over her seat while she become positioned in Senate. All right. So let me share this with y'all as well too. This is him doing this political affairs, whatever.
I'm Frederick Douglass Haynes III, and I'm committed to bringing an outside voice, outside vision, fueled by outside values to the House. Oh yeah, United States Congress House District 30, that's what I'm committed to, bringing your voices, your values, your vision inside of the House. As we all know, there are many insiders in the House, and they simply look out for those who are up and in, and they exclude and forget those who are down and out. I want to bring your voice. I want to bring your vision, your values inside the House. Why? Because we must do better. We must do better economically. Sadly, we live in a country where the up and in, they're okay. But those who find themselves in the middle, right here in District 30, you also find yourself one crisis away from economic disaster and devastation. We want to bring outside values because you should be able to afford to live in District 30, afford to live in this nation. And as you afford it, it's because you have a living wage. It's because you can afford to send your kids to school. You can afford to raise them. You can afford to have decent, good housing. You can afford to live in a community of opportunity where opportunity surrounds you. You can afford to experience good health care that should.
Let me ask y'all a question. How do y'all feel about religion and politics? Do you believe that religion and politics can coexist together in this modern time? Now, I'm not talking about in the past where it did coexist, but I'm talking about currently in this modern time, in this modern generation. Do you believe that religion and politics could coexist together? What do you think? Here's another thing that I want y'all to consider too. Once again, I made it abundantly clear that that Frederick Haynes is the pastor of Friendship West Baptist Church. I want y'all to also understand that Pastor Haynes do not have no type of political background whatsoever. But however, he do have a background in activism. So I'm kind of curious to want to know, do you believe that since Pastor Haynes has a background in activism but not in political affairs, right, do you believe that he would be a great candidate for Texas 30th District? How would that look like? How will he go by leading this district if he were to win the district in November? Me personally, this is how I see this. I believe that if you're dealing with any type of political affairs, I believe that you need to have experience in it, okay? It's one thing to commentate about it, like how I'm doing, for example. I don't have experience in dealing with anything political, but however, I could share my personal commentary about it, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I'm not going to sit up here and try to run for a political office knowing good and damn well I don't have no type of experience doing it. But however, with Pastor Haynes, Jasmine Crockett had hyped him up and told him that, hey, Pastor, since you have this background in activism, right, you would be a great political candidate for the 30th district. I wonder why would she say that? Knowing good and well that this dude is just a pastor of a church. But once again, y'all let me know what y'all think about that. Do y'all believe that thus any person could be a part of any type of political affair due to, them not having the background or experience? Because to me, it's similar to going out and applying for a job, right? You're not going to just go and apply for a job when you know good and well you don't have experience, right? A matter of fact, the company is not going to hire you due to you not having experience. They're not going to sit up here and hire you like, okay, we'll just take a chance on you. Most companies do not do that unless it's what is called entry level. But we know that there is no entry level in politics. You either know it or you don't know it. So once again, I'm kind of curious, how do y'all feel about that? Do y'all feel that since he's just a pastor, do he have experience running political affairs, or this is also a bad move as well too? Because I believe that politics and religion cannot mix at all. Politics have its own lane and religion have its own lane as well too. Especially dealing with activism, which it has its own lane as well too. But here's the interview with Pastor Haynes.
Why in the world do you want to leave the pulpit where you have influence and get into politics with the state of it today?
Wow, thank you for that question. First, I don't consider myself leaving the pulpit. This is really a reflection of the great tradition, especially in the black church, where you had Adam Clayton Powell Jr., you had Floyd Flake. To this day, you have Senator Raphael Warnock, who in a real sense expanded the pulpit. So it's not leaving the pulpit as much as it is expanding the pulpit so that the message of justice is brought to the political arena. And so that's what I see myself doing, basically extending a ministry of public service beyond what takes place in church on Sunday.
If elected, will you still preach on Sundays?
Oh, without question, without question. I'll be in the church every single Sunday. I talked to Raphael Warnock as I was praying about this, and he said, I've only missed 2 Sundays in 5 years, and so I look forward to having that kind of record too.
So how is it possible for him to still preach every Sunday at his church while still being part of these political affairs? Because these political affairs takes a lot of energy out of you. It takes a lot of you, because you're going to have to be part of the House. You have to be part of voting, everything. You have to know how to write and draft bills and all type of stuff, right? And so this is why I'm questioning this, you know what I'm saying? Because I know that Pastor Haynes do not have no political background whatsoever. So I don't know about this at all, period. I don't know if he would be a good quality candidate. Now, once again, dealing with District 30, from my experience with dealing with District 30, right? Whenever people run for District 30, they normally win off of what is known as the popularity vote. Okay? That's what happened with Pastor Frederick Haynes, is that he had won last night due to the popularity vote, due to people knowing him, knowing who he is, and also due to the endorsement of Jasmine Crockett. But however, I don't know if this dude is going to be competent enough to fulfill his role as being a part of the House, but we'll see. We'll see. One more clip, y'all, and we're going to dive deep into this content.
As it is right now, cannot continue.
Texans voted for stronger border enforcement, immigration enforcement this last November election, but in the wake of the Minnesota shooting, there have been calls for reforming ICE, some even just getting rid of it at all.
Exactly.
Where do you stand on that issue? What kind of changes need to be made, if any at all?
Yeah, Texans did not vote, though, for ICE to become an agent of terror. And that's what's going on right now. The unfortunate reality is that since September, 9 persons have been killed by ICE, and that represents a pattern. That represents a trend, as it were. And so ICE, as it is right now, cannot continue. And so as far as I'm concerned, I'm for the abolition of ICE in its present form. I believe that we can have safe borders without terrorizing those who live in the community.
So since he's mentioning about the immigration laws, they're currently happening right now, and then also mentioned about ICE, right? I'm gonna ask y'all another question. How y'all feel about the current situation with ICE? Do you believe that ICE is doing a phenomenal job or detaining illegal immigrants, or do you believe that they be going too far in the affairs of detaining illegal immigrants? And the reason why I'm asking this question is because Jasmine Crockett actually endorses this, as well as Frederick Haynes, that they believe that illegal immigrants should be in this country. They believe that they should be in this country. They have every right to be in this country, because their argument behind it is that, hell, everybody in this country is technically an illegal immigrant, so why not have them in the country as well too? But the bigger thing is this: they know that if they have illegal immigrants in this country, they could use these immigrants to help them vote for political affairs. This was the same strategy that Kamala tried to do in her election run in presidency, but it backfired on her. And so they're just sticking with this strategy. Now, me personally, I believe that the strategy that that the Trump administration is doing right now for us, the detaining illegal immigrants, I agree with it. I agree with the strategy, because at the end of the day, this is our country, this is our nation, and we need to protect our borders. That goes for any illegal immigrant. It don't matter if you come from Mexico, Africa, wherever you at. You have to follow the due process of entering into this country the same exact way how we as Americans, we have to follow the same due process if we go into other foreign countries. If we decide to live in another foreign country, we have to do the same thing. We have to have visas. We have to have paperwork. If we want to do dual citizenship, we have to apply for that when we go to these other countries. So I don't understand why this situation is so toxic with the Democratic Party, when it's simple. If you come into this country, you have to follow the due process. And that's all they're saying, is for you to come here and follow the due process. If you want to be a citizen of this country, don't do it illegally. Do it legally. Follow the due process. Get your paperwork. Get your visas, green cards, wherever you got to do, so you can be a sovereign citizen in this country. Or dual citizenship, wherever it is that you're trying to do. Just do it right. But once again, they don't believe in that. And here's the one. I just thought about this. I have one clip of this too. We're going to see this one later. But where's it at? This one right here. I want y'all to listen to this.
Mi nombre es Mariela Sobrero. Yo estuve detenida desde el 14 de enero hasta el 14 de febrero en Delay, Texas. Y estoy muy agradecida por el apoyo con la congresista Jasmine Crockett, y también después de mi liberación, también por todo el apoyo que me dieron y que me siguen dando. Y es una persona muy buena, y espero que todas las personas la apoyen en la postulación para el senador. Queremos nosotros más personas así, que nos apoyen a nosotros con el tema de migración, con el tema de ICE. Y muy agradecida por todo el apoyo.
So the subtitles is on the screen. I don't know if y'all could see it, because I see the chat right there too, right? But I'm gonna summarize what she was saying. In other words, she was saying that hey, ICE had came and detained her because she was an illegal immigrant. Okay, ICE came and detained her, and Jasmine Crockett had came and pretty much rescued her and her family. All right. And ever since after that situation happened, Jasmine Crockett being in constant communication with her and her family. But I understand politics. I understand how this thing works, even though I'm not a part of it, but I know strategy. What Jasmine Crockett and her camp did is that they had utilized an opportunity. They utilized the opportunity to seek out this woman who got detained by ICE so they could use it as a political strategy. That's what they did. But once again, that's the reason why I am saying that I am for the illegal immigration, period. Follow the due process of attaining citizenship in this country. It's that simple. I believe that the things that President Trump is doing, there's nothing wrong with it at all, period. Or the administration. There's nothing wrong with it. Because that's what they're supposed to be doing. Hell, to be honest with you, it being long overdue for it to happen, to be quite honest with you. Marcus, what's up with it, man? Said she did nothing for the black community, but immigrants got everything they needed, and that's facts. And here's another one interesting detail that I want to share with y'all, all right? I also was part of social services with the state of Texas, right? I spent roughly about almost 10 years being part of the Department of Health and Human Services. I was the guy who was helping people apply for Medicaid, food stamps, pregnancy Medicaid, and all these other aids that are out there in the state of Texas. Throughout my career of dealing with people applying for these benefits, guess who apply for these benefits the most? Guess. According to statistics, it was the actual white people, right? But let me be clear on this. It was more of the rural white people, meaning that the ones who deal with farm work, right? Where they not around different businesses where they could go to work. So they only have their farming to rely on. So them type of people, the white people who's doing farming work and stuff, right? They was the ones who was benefiting from SNAP and Medicaid and different things like that due to their income. Secondly, it was immigrants. It was immigrants. Then finally, it was dealing with normal urban people. And normal urban people includes black people and low-wage white people and Hispanics and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I dealt with that throughout my career, looking at these numbers, reporting people, reporting fraudulent activities, dealing with food stamps and everything. So I done seen the numbers. I know what be happening with these benefits and everything. So that's why when everything was happening and stuff, right, I said, shoot, it was well overdue for them to be doing the stuff that they was doing. A matter of fact, I don't know if y'all been deep into politics, right? I believe a couple of months ago, Somalian immigrants, right, was being exposed for abusing benefits. And the reason why is because this party, right, not the Republican Party, but these other parties make it readily easy for them to apply for these benefits without saying if they are citizens in this country. And that's not cool at all. Meanwhile, we have normal American people like myself or others, those of y'all who are watching right now. It may be a situation where you end up losing your job, losing your job for whatever reason. And so you try to apply for unemployment and they deny you for unemployment due to your income. Then you try to apply for food stamps or Medicaid and they deny you from that due to your income. But here's other people who come over from another country and they just get it right then and there automatically. And they give them emergency benefits right then and there. But yeah, so yeah, and just like I say, I agree with that. She didn't do a lot for the black community. She only did certain things when they dealt with racism. Okay, for the black community in Texas, to be quite honest with you. Speaking of which, let's go ahead also and segue into this endorsement, all right? So y'all are aware of that Jasmine had, some really, really good endorsements that was backing her up. One of the main endorsements was, of course, Kamala Harris. We had Anila Presley. We had Akeem Jeffries. We had Cora Bush as well, too. But she also has celebrity endorsements, one of which is this young lady right here, Cardi B.
Listen up, y'all. Early primary voting is happening right now in Texas, and we need Jasmine Crockett to win. She is running for U.S. Senate, and if you want somebody that's going to fight for your right, if you want somebody to fight for your community, if you want somebody that's going to go up there and represent you and represent your issues, please vote for my sister Jasmine Crockett. Because one thing about it, she's going to fight her best. She's going to fight whoever she has to, so your voice and your problems could be heard. Vote right now. This counts so much. Vote right now.
And here's another one, celebrity endorsement that she had as well too. We'll get to that clip.
Good. It's Method Man right here. I'm going to keep this message short and brief. Texas, it's time to vote. I need you to go out there and vote for my homie, my peoples, someone I trust, Jasmine Crockett, as your next U.S. Senator. She is the leader we know and a fighter we can trust. So make sure you get out there, let your voice be heard. Salute.
And then she also had Kelly Rowland.
You guys got to get out there and vote. You know what to do. That's right. We are starting voting on February 17th, and you heard it from the Kelly Rowland. Let's get out and do it. You have a voice. Just go use it.
Now, why am I mentioning this? Why am I bringing this to y'all attention? All right. Remember when I said earlier that Jasmine's strategy was that she wanted to win the popular vote, right? So she decided that this same type of strategy would be beneficial for the Senate race as well, too. But the only thing about this is that when you're dealing with the Senate race, it's a whole different beast altogether. Okay. Her idea was straightforward. She believed that if a candidate could dominate the vote in majority urban areas, right? As you can see, this is the reason why she used these type of celebrities, right? Kamala did the same exact thing. They can potentially offset weaker performances in other parts of the state. So in theory, right? In theory, she believed that winning strong numbers in high popular areas could build a powerful popular vote advantage. But the only problem with this is that dealing with the state of Texas, it is very complex. When you in this type of race, you can't just win off of this you being popular. Now, she could do that when she was running for District 30, of course, because that's the district. But when you running for Senate for the whole entire state, that's a different beast altogether. So not only you have to win the popular vote, you have to convince your constituents, right, that you are best fit for this job. Same exact way as you going out for a job interview and proving you that you are going to be best fit for this position that you're hiring for. Due to Jasmine Crockett's track record of things that she was doing, not only for District 30, right, but things she was doing in the House, a lot of her fellow Democratic constituents did not endorse her. They did, to be honest with you, they did not want her to have the Senate seat. One person in particular is former President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. Because if that was so, then they would have endorsed her as well as Kamala. But it's a reason why the Obamas didn't endorse Kamala. The reason why is because they feel like she's not going to be competent enough to handle that Texas Senate seat. So that's why they didn't endorse her. Even though they didn't directly say this, but you could tell by their actions. Because, let's be honest, action speaks louder than words. Period. So by their actions, they have solidified saying that we rather go with James than with Jasmine. Now, also, I want y'all to understand is that voters come from many different regions and successful campaigns, and usually how to build a coalition that stretches across multiple parts of the state. Now, when I say coalition, I mean that you literally have to connect with every county throughout the whole state of Texas and prove to them that you're competent in handling the seat. No matter their race, no matter their sexual orientation, no matter their religious belief, you have to connect with all of them. But since Jasmine was so focused on race and she was focused on black people, right? She may have won the popular vote in the beginning, especially, a matter of fact, especially in the early election votes. She was winning in the early elections of votes. She was winning almost like 50% in the early election votes over one James. But when the main election happened, right? Nope. Didn't happen. See, in this race, the strategy of focusing heavily on large populations, right, it didn't produce the margin that her campaign needed. And that's the reason why she lost. So instead of just creating that decisive advantage, right, like how James did, her approach appeared to have fallen short of delivering the statewide support necessary for her to secure that nomination. And that's why she lost, y'all. That's why she lost. Now, I also want to share this information with y'all as well, too. Do y'all know, I don't know if y'all was following this, right, but do y'all know that, first of all, that Jasmine, she didn't want to concede? Even though the race was close, but she didn't concede this race at all, period. Matter of fact, she did the same exact thing that Kamala did. Even when Kamala knew that she was getting destroyed by President Trump, she didn't concede at all. But however, just like with Kamala, Jasmine made excuses for this. And this is what I want to share with y'all right now. This is her excuse for the reason why she had lost this race.
Democratic Party Chair Cardall Coleman, he beat me to the punch, as myself and Colin all read. We're about to file a lawsuit to keep the voting polls open. We were able to keep the polls open, but I can tell you now that people have been disenfranchised. The reason that we knew that there were problems is because we were receiving the phone calls and the emails. The polls were supposed to stay open until 9, according to a court order. The Supreme Court, just a few minutes ago, just said, shut it down. Once there was a court order saying you had until 9, I'm sure that there were people that joined the line after 7. They now are telling them that you have to separate the votes out. What this means is that we will not know what votes are to be tallied from Election Day out of Dallas County. For sure, we won't know that tonight.
Now, let me give y'all the understanding of what she's talking about, all right? So, the voting polls, first of all, have a certain time that they're going to allow people to go and cast their votes. Typically, the cutoff time is normally around about 7:30, all right? So, what Jasmine and her party end up doing, they end up filing an order to get the time extended to 9:30. That's the first part of it. The second part of it is this. There was reports from Election Day that was indicated that some voters experienced confusion at certain polling locations after changes require voters to go to their assigned precinct instead of voting anywhere within the county as they had previously done in other elections. So in other words, just to make this clear, in the state of Texas, it didn't matter what county you was at, right? you could go to any place, any county, and you could cast your votes. But in this particular election, they did not make it clear that you had to vote within your county. Now, I also want y'all to understand this. This situation is happening with the Democratic Party, not the Republican Party. It's happening with the Democratic Party. So meaning that it was the Democratic responsibility to ensure that your voters knew the expectation of casting their votes. Instead of spending all this endorsement money getting celebrities to get people to vote for her and stuff, right? She should have been using these damn celebrities to tell them, like, hey, when you cast your votes, make sure you go to your assigned precinct. Because if you don't go to your assigned precinct, they're not going to accept you. And you got to go to your assigned precinct. That's what she should have been doing. But however, in the speech that she's doing right now, right, she literally saying that since it was all this confusion happening, she's blaming it on racism. She's blaming it on racism. She's blaming it on the Republican Party. And of course, indirectly blaming it on President Trump. But let's continue. Matter of fact, I'm going to bag it up, y'all, just a little bit so y'all can understand the context.
Were supposed to stay open until 9, according to a court order. The Supreme Court, just a few minutes ago, just said, shut it down. Once there was a court order saying you had until 9, I'm sure that there were people that joined the line after 7.
Oh, also, let me make this abundantly clear as well, too. I believe that people should be grown, competent adults, okay? If you knew that you wanted to go out and vote for her, right, that you should have made provisions within yourself so you could show up to these voting locations timely. Another thing too, a lot of companies in the state of Texas, they do allow PTO time where a person could take off of work and go vote and come back to work. But the one thing about it is that you have to communicate that to your supervisor or manager that is your intentions of what you want to do. Most companies will allow you to leave either like on your lunch break, or they'll allow you to leave work early using PTO time and leave work early so you could go to the voting polls. So to be quite honest with you, I believe that it was disingenuous for her in a campaign to even put up a file order to extend the voting time to 9 o'clock or 9:30. Because at the end of the day, these are competent grown adults. When I go out and vote, right, I know where my voting location is at, right, because I check prior. I make sure that I'm going to the correct voting location. I make sure what time the voting polls are closing. So if I'm competent enough to do that, then why the hell all the rest of these constituents couldn't do that? Why did you have to baby these people in order for them to come and vote for you?
They now are telling them that you have to separate the votes out. What this means is that we will not know what votes are to be tallied from Election Day out of Dallas County. For sure, we won't know that tonight.
So also what she's saying is this. She's saying that those voters that went out and vote right, there was a cutoff time. Once after you hit that cutoff time, it don't matter if you're in that line or not. Your votes will not count. So you could stay in that line all day long if you want to and still try to cast your votes, right? But once when it hits that cutoff time, the judge ordered for them to cut it off and the votes will not count. I honestly believe that Jasmine Crockett and her party had told them people to, hey, regardless of the cutoff time, y'all still vote. Go ahead and vote. But due to the fact that now it became illegal for them to do that, right? That's the reason why she's looking the way that she's looking, because she told them people wrong.
I want you to enjoy yourselves, but I won't be back tonight because I have no idea of when we're going to get results, and I fully anticipate it won't be until tomorrow.
So she did this speech last night, all right, roughly around by 9:30, 10 o'clock. She did this speech, right? And so what she was saying was accurate, that they was not going to find out who won until the next day, which that did happen. When I woke up in the morning, I had found out that Jasmine Crockett had indeed lost this race. But it was speculated that she was going to lose anyway because she didn't have a lead. It was close, but James was beating her. Okay. And so she was hoping and praying that the remainder people who went past the deadline of voter rights, she was hoping and praying that them votes would get counted in as well too. But it didn't happen the way that she wanted to happen. Now, here's another thing too. Because many voters were used to the old system of voting, right? Some arrived at the wrong polling location and were redirected or turned away. And Crockett also argued that this confusion may have prevented some people from voting and suggested that it may be disproportionately affected communities suspected to support her campaign, preferably Black American communities. However, while the report confirmed the voters experienced confusion and were redirected at some locations, the exact number of votes affected it, right? And whether it would have changed the final outcome, to be honest with you, it did change the one outcome, to be honest. It did. So this whole entire situation that happened to her, right? To be honest with you, it's your campaign fault. It's not racism. It's not the man. It's not the Republicans. It is your fault as a political leader that you didn't inform your constituents that they needed to vote it at a certain location. Like I shared with y'all earlier, right? When I was sharing with y'all these different celebrities that was up there. She should have had these celebrities reading that script. Like how I was reading the script earlier, she should have had them celebrities reading that script. Oh, by the way, y'all, make sure you go to the correct polling location because you know you just can't vote anywhere. Support Jasmine. She should have did the same as that thing in her campaign as well too. Letting them know that you need to vote at a certain location. Hell, James did it. James makes sure that the people was abundantly clear that you needed to vote at your certain location. But she didn't do it. So whose fault is that? That is your fault, Jasmine, and your constituents' fault as well too. So one last thing that I want to share with y'all. I want to share with y'all that's the reality of taking this political risk. Now, those of y'all who are tuning in right now, I appreciate you. Do me a favor. Make sure you double tap the screen to show that you support this thought-provoking content. We're talking about Jasmine Crockett, but we're talking about her in a different manner. We're not talking about it as far as trying to degrade her or her image or anything like that. We're just stating the facts of why she lost this race. All right. Now, I also made it abundantly clear with y'all as well, too, that I did not support Jasmine Crockett in this race due to her new political alignments, you know what I'm saying, or her political beliefs. There are a lot of political beliefs that she believes in I do not support at all, period. So, therefore, that caused me the reason to not support Jasmine Crockett. Have I did it in the past? Yes, I did. Because in the past, Jasmine was very different from how the way she is now versus in the past. So in the past, I did support her. But presently now, no. Not at all. Not at all. So she ended up taking a political risk. She ended up literally giving up her seat in the House so she could run for Senate. And her whole hope was this. Her whole hope was that she was going to win this popular vote, while meanwhile endorsing Pastor Frederick Haynes to take over her seat. But what ended up happening is that she ended up losing, right? And so now you still have Pastor Haynes, which he's going to go into the main elections that's going to happen in November. He's going to run against a Republican. So regardless of what's going to happen, somebody's going to fill that seat. Whether it's going to be Pastor Haynes or that other person. But however, whoever wins that, guess what? Jasmine Crockett going to be kicked out of that seat. So in reality, she literally self-sabotaged her own political career by taking this gamble, thinking that she's going to win Senate. And here's another one fact that I want y'all to understand too, and why this was such a very high risk gamble that she did. And honestly, I don't even understand why she thought she was going to win. Another thing is this. Do y'all know that no Democrat Party had ever filled that Senate seat since 1993? Do y'all know that? That is a fact. No Democratic representative filled that Senate seat since 1993. So why in the hell did she believe that she's going to be the exception to the rule? Why? That's why I was saying that she was better off staying where she was at in the 30th district, being a member of the House of Representatives, to stay right there and do your job there. But she decided that she wanted more. And by her wanting more, now she done literally sabotage her political career. Now, I also want y'all to understand this, is that even though she's pretty much going to lose her seat, right? It's at this point, it's inevitable, right? It's going to happen. So her timeline is this. She got what we're in March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. So she got approximately about 8 months left to be in her position. Now, even though that she's going to lose her seat, right, that doesn't mean that her whole entire political career can be over, because she could have other opportunities. She could become a political analyst. She could be part of talk shows or whatever, since she had the celebrity status, you know what I mean? So she had other opportunities of what she can do. But however, her whole goal was for her to be the voice for the people that she was fighting for. But now she's no longer going to be in that position of power to do it, because she made this choice and decision. So, in other words, sometimes when you gamble like that, it'll pay off. Other times it don't at all, period. In this particular case, that Senate race did not produce the outcome that Jasmine was looking for. And now, with another candidate now in her going for her seat, right, her future is very uncertain, depending on what move she want to make. I'm just saying. I want to but we'll end this by me sharing these this other clip and stuff, right? I'm not gonna share this one because this was when she was at Pastor Haynes' church, doing her politics thing. But I do want to share this clip, and we'll call it a day. All right. Once again, I appreciate everybody tuning into the show. Those of y'all who are here, make sure you double tap the screen to make sure that you want more of this thought-provoking content, all right? So I want to share this last clip with y'all. Y'all let me know what you think.
We've all seen the attack ads that have come on behalf of my primary opponent, who supposedly wants to get rid of super PACs, yet doesn't have anything to say about the negative ads, the ads that are darkening my skin, and this continual kind of, if she wins, we lose. It's not even undertones right now. It is straight up racist. So I am tired. So
let me give y'all context, all right? So almost a month ago, right, her and James was involved in this controversy, right? This controversy was that it was indirectly mentioned that Jasmine was not qualified to be running for the House of Senate due to her being a woman and due to her being a black woman. So what she's doing is that she's confronting this particular situation. That's what she's talking about. So Everything that Jasmine does, it always deals with racism. And the funny part about this too, y'all, is this. The funny part about this is that her and James is both Democrats. Once again, they both Democrats. They both is on the same umbrella. Democrats don't like Republicans. And they want to control the House and the Senate. But even within that, right? Even within that, you can see that there were separations. Preferably with her. She honestly believed that all white people are racist as hell, dealing with political matters. So it don't matter if you're a Democrat and Republican to her. It don't even matter at all, period. But here's another one thing about her is this. One of the main things that I also don't like about Jasmine, right, is this. I don't like that Jasmine don't hold herself accountable for the things that she say. I don't. It's one thing for you to say it and, stand 10 toes down on it. It's one thing about it. But also, while you doing that, you got to hold yourself accountable as well, too. Like, case in point, the stuff that I say on here, right? I stand 10 toes down on what I say and I meant what I said, right? And also, I hold myself accountable. But I noticed this. I noticed that it's a trend just with not only her, but other women who are in these political space where they believe that they don't have to hold themselves accountable. They don't. And so I find that interesting that she don't want to do that. Even by her losing this race, she didn't hold herself accountable for the stuff she said. She blamed it on the race. But let's continue.
Of people asking whether or not I am electable. The reality is that
I know what's so with it.
dog whistle.
So do you blame Representative Talarico for the frictions and tensions?
I will say that usually when you're behind, that's when you start to do ugly things. You can take that however you want to.
So also, let me give you one last context too. So when she was talking about this, right, the early voting had closed, right? So within the early voting, Jasmine was leading a lot over James, okay? And so they had took this as an opportunity to say that James was saying indirect racist things to Jasmine. James did come back later and he said, hey, no, that's a misunderstanding. I don't know what the hell she's talking about. But once again, I want y'all to understand that they both part of the same party. That's important. So Jasmine literally does sabotage her whole entire political career for being on this conquest of racism. The people in the state of Texas is not going to function off of racism alone. They're going to overall function on what's going to be the best benefit for the said states. And that's where Jasmine had failed at. So, other than that, y'all, I don't know what's going to go on with Jasmine for her career. I don't know what she's going to do next, after when she no longer have a seat. But I can tell you this for certain that a lot of people are celebrating for real that Jasmine is no longer going to be in office. She's no longer going to be part of the House of Representatives as of November. So they only have to tolerate her for 8 more months, and that's it. That's it. So y'all let me know what y'all think about this episode. You know what I'm saying? How do you feel about this race with Jasmine Crockett? Were you part of the one who voted for Jasmine Crockett so she could win the Senate race? If so, how do you feel about her losing this race? Do you feel like that it was the man's fault that she lost this race? Or do you want to hold her accountable for lack of communication with her constituents and letting them know that, hey, you need to vote this certain type of way in your certain type of location? What about with James as well too? He's running as well too. And I didn't do a lot coverage on James because I also don't agree with the things that James talk about, because he also is part of this feminist movement. So when James run in November, right? Guess what? I'll be voting against him. So, but that's that. But once again, shout out to everyone who's in the chat. I appreciate you tuning into this particular episode. Shout out everyone who's here on Gertrude. I see you in the chat, and everybody else who are in the chat as well too. Appreciate you as well too. Also, thank you. I just seen this on Straight Business. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you stepping up and saying that, hey, keep the negativity out of the chat. I appreciate you saying that and doing that for me. Thank you. Thank you. If you're still in the building. But other than that, y'all let me know what y'all think about this. How you feel about this whole entire situation with Jasmine Crockett. Me personally, right? Just like I stated earlier in the stream, me personally, I'm happy that she lost this race. I am happy she lost, because I honestly believe that Jasmine needed to be humbled, because she was so used to taking all these W's and stuff, right? That her ego started kicking in, thinking that she's going to win no matter what. But humility will do one of two things for a person. It will either mature them, or it will literally destroy them. I'm hoping that this situation would mature her to seeing the whole reality of the truth. That everything isn't always about race. Isn't always about misandry or misogynistic things. You know what I'm saying? It's not always about reproductive rights or, different things like that. But there are other bigger agendas and issues that are happening that's way more important. So hopefully this situation will mature her into a way where she could reevaluate, and she, in the future, she could come back strong and do what she do. Now, notice by my statement, I'm not bashing her. Not calling her out of name, like some people, they call her a city girl, right? City girl is a red pill talking point that we use to talk about women, right? Who have a strong position of power. So we call them city girls, you know what I'm saying? But notice I didn't call her a city girl or anything like that, you know what I'm saying? I just called it down the line for what it is. So yeah. Thank God she gone. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. But once again, I want to reiterate this to you, that she just lost the Senate race only. All right. She still is holding her position in the House of Representatives. All right. She have approximately 8 months remaining to be in her seat. Okay. So we got to deal with this for 8 more months. All right. So other than that, y'all, once again, thank y'all so much for being part of this midday show. And I will be going live later on today as well too, to give y'all some more thought-provoking content. So appreciate y'all, and I will see y'all again on the next episode.